Welcome back to the Sun's newsroom here in New York City, where we've actually got some data to crunch it all over. We've got a top pollster, friend of Never Mind the Ballots, Scarlett McGuire, JL Partners. What's happening out there?
Yeah, it looks like it's a very interesting race so far. We've had some exit polls through, and we've also had some early results through. So far, it's looking quite good for Trump, but it is very early days.
These exit polls, not like a British exit poll where it's, you know, an actual projection, but they look at what sort of vibes and feels and issues. What's jumped out for you?
Well, we had the first batch, which were all vibes and feels and issues, and I think are basically not useful at all. So
Right.
they're the ones we got about 5 p.m. our time here. We've since had exit polls coming out of states, which have projected how people are voting in terms of gender split, in terms of independence. And it's interesting because in both Pennsylvania and in Georgia, we've had independents breaking for Trump. Now, if that bears true with the results, that is not good news for Harris.
Well, let's have a look at CNN losing their minds at the Georgia exit poll.
Trump is winning them by 11 points in these early exit poll results, 54% to 30%. Jake, 4 years ago, Joe Biden won independent voters in Georgia when he won the state by 9 points.
Jake Tapper there, not looking very happy. I mean, if that split was to be, you know, if the independents split like that across the country, this is game over for Harris, right?
It certainly would look very, very bad for Harris if that were to
And is it just
materialise.
Georgia, Pennsylvania, obviously the crunch state? How's it looking now?
At the moment, so far, Pennsylvania is looking, just from that exit poll, is looking like it's going in Trump's favour. And again, Pennsylvania, you're absolutely right. Most people think, including us, it is the crucial state to this election. If Harris does not win Pennsylvania, it's very difficult for her to win overall.
And the other big theme we've been waiting for, this, you know, the Democrats have been reliant on trying to get the abortion issue a motive enough to get women to split for Harris and get them out in places that they wouldn't necessarily, you know, vote in big numbers as Democrats. Is there any evidence yet for that happening?
Yeah, so I think the Democrat campaign was banking on a historic gender gap for Harris, with women trending towards the Democrats. Now, what we are seeing, again, so far in exit polls, but also in some suburban counties, by the looks of things, again, very early on, it looks like that historic gender gap, as sort of foretold by the Iowa Seltzer poll that everyone got very excited about over the weekend, it looks like that has not materialised. And so far, again, just from the exit polls, it looks like Harris is winning women as expected, but not by as much as Trump is winning
And this
men.
sort of mythical Republican women split switches, any evidence of that yet?
Not in the numbers that they would need, not yet, but it's early days.
You're hedging your bets there, I see. Look, your firm has gone pretty bullish for Trump. You know, why do you think, you know, obviously you've been doing a lot of polling in Britain. What's the key differences with the pollsters in the UK and the UK firms and the American firms? Why is your model so much more pro-Trump than, say, other US firms?
That is a great question. I think the industry out here is quite different from the industry in the UK. We have been quite confident in our methodology that we use. We use a sort of mixed method to reach voters in the first place, to reach some of those voters that are harder to reach, the ones that tend to go Trump, for example.
Yeah, the young, white, angry man.
Yeah, which have driven polling errors in here in 2020 and 2016, and then our model looked a bit different as well. So our model worked a bit differently. It up-weighted full ballot tests. They tend to be much more accurate than head-to-head polls, and it uses a different set of priors to other people. Most noticeably, we did not give Harris an incumbency boost because we didn't think she got one. Her whole success in this campaign depends on being the change candidate, not on
Turn the
being
page
incumbent.
from 3 years of the last.
Exactly. We do not think incumbency is a benefit. And in fact, that's not unique to America. You can see that in Western countries all around the world in the wake of COVID.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump, you know, by rights, should be walking this, right? He's ahead on the key issues of the economy, immigration, inflation. You know, he should be doing. This shouldn't be in doubt.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Donald Trump should be walking this. All the fundamentals are in his favour, both in terms of the issues and in views of the Biden-Harris administration, and as well in the circumstances in which the Biden had to step down. That was not good for Democrats. None of that was good for Democrats. So the fact that it's close is not sort of brilliant, I would say, so far.
Well, that just shows how toxic Donald Trump is to millions of Americans.
Yeah, and how polarised the country is too. No doubt that is part of the reason why. But I think it's interesting because you talk about our model being more bullish on Trump. It has been more bullish than Trump, but even our model has seen it trending away from him the last few days, still showing a race that's slightly in his favour, but not as dramatic as it was a week ago.
Bit of pollsters herding there. Bit of herding. I know your tricks. I know your tricks. Scarlett, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. I mean, based on what you've seen so far, on the exit polls, on the early data, is there anything that is making you worried that you might have got this one wrong?
I would rather be in Trump's shoes than Harris's right now.
Well, I don't think they'd fit, but... Right, don't go anywhere. We'll have more coming up.